Here's a movie I didn't really expect to see happening, Hellboy. It's another adaptation of the comic book that we got an adaptation only a couple years ago with Guillermo del Toro's 2004 Hellboy, which got a sequel in 2008. For a couple of years we heard he was possibly doing a third movie, never happened, and now we have Neil Marshall's Hellboy, now starring David Harbour as the main character, Hellboy. We've been getting quite a few of these lately where we're taking a comic book property that was only done a couple years ago and we're redoing it. We did it with Spider-Man twice, actually, and we did it recently with Fantastic Four. These movies really do feel like they're just trying to hold on to the rights. Sometimes they can do them better than the others, but this was a case that really felt like the studio just wanted to hold on to the rights. Other than feeling like a contractual obligation, it also felt like a video game. Effects-wise especially, but it felt like a video game in that it seemed like we were getting all the cutscenes, but none of the action in between. You know, the part where you actually play the game and you see some of the action on screen. This movie felt very empty as far as action went, which surprised me. I was kind of hoping to see a couple more action beats here and there, but we didn't really get many. Instead, we rely fully on story beat after story beat, which is edited in this really fast-paced style, which can be likable to a lot of people. In fact, I would say Bohemian Rhapsody won an Oscar for this kind of editing. Hellboy's gonna do it and everyone's gonna make fun of it, but I'm like, this is what Bohemian Rhapsody did and they won an Oscar, so I don't know. Does the fast-paced style work? Not really, because we get a lot of exposition dropped here and there, really rushed, and it most of the time doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem like we care. We don't care enough about these characters to have all these bits of story drop throughout the piece. Hellboy himself is pretty boring. I was kind of excited to see David Harbour be the main character, and yeah, he has his moments. He has a laid-back attitude to the whole performance, which I like, but it doesn't really make the character interesting. This movie just doesn't really have much of a story going on. And yeah, we get introduced to all these characters, and then we have to be introduced to their backstories, and it's cool. It's very much like what you expect from a fantasy, but it doesn't really take the time to develop these stories. It doesn't take the time to develop these characters. Instead, we're just rushed through this project. I could see some people liking that, but for me, and usually I like fast-paced stuff, but here it just really didn't work. We're introduced to a villain right from the beginning, and it's a villain that I think for the most part is pretty uninteresting. We've seen it done before, better in many different movies, and here it's like, it doesn't even feel like she's a threat, even when you get to the third act and you're hoping for this, some kind of event to happen, and they're showing it on screen to a point. You don't really feel the impact of anything that's going on. If you're gonna have a story that doesn't have a lot of development, try to at least fill up the story with some good, really cool action sequences. There's one or two here or there, and there is a great action sequence at the end of the movie, but I didn't really understand why the rest of the movie couldn't have been like that. The effects are pretty bad too, and I'm not one to really complain about effects in movies. For the most part, I feel like I'm pretty lenient. To a point, I could see what they were doing where the CGI wasn't trying to look realistic, it was trying to look stylish, but that's the thing, it was trying. I don't think it really was stylish. There was a scene where Hellboy's riding a dragon in this dream sequence, and I was like, that's a really cool moment in the movie. But there's not really many like that. Very end of the movie, where these giant monsters come rising out of the ground and they start ripping people to shreds and there's tons of gore everywhere. That was really cool. But that's the thing, I feel like that's what the movie was trying to sell us on. This was a rated R Hellboy movie that said it was going to up the gore. The trailers tried to sell it like it was going to be this Deadpool-like movie. Really weirdly enough, there is a fourth wall break midway through the movie, and there's not another one. I don't know why there was one, but besides that, there's not really that much gore. There's nothing really stylish about this movie. It's just a very stale movie. It's not very interesting. And for an age where there's so many good comic book movies, I think we expect more. and probably deserve more than what Hellboy was giving us. But the filmmakers behind it and the actors behind it, it seemed like they were really trying to make for an entertaining experience. I just think it kind of landed with a thud. So with that, I will be giving Hellboy 2 out of 5 stars. Tell me what you thought of the movie. Did you enjoy it at least? Did you think it was better than the other Hellboy movies? Do you think it was more true to the comic books, or do you think they should just leave Hellboy alone? Thanks for watching.